Welcome into another edition of Crushing It. We are a little late on the... raise my seat. We are a little late on the Bengals recap. I'm not gonna lie. Work has kind of been draining me dry lately. It's been... wrong thing. It's been a little draining at work lately. I'm not gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. No, I didn't want to open you, Xbox. Good lord. We're off to just the most outstanding start, apparently. So yeah, Broncos took another loss on Saturday to the Cincinnati Bengals. It was an overtime thriller that seemed to exasperate some of the recent issues we have seen with this team as of late. I will be getting into that here in just a minute, but I do want to start by taking our weekly look at the playoff picture. There will be no Thursday night football this week, which means these are the standings going into week 17. So let's kill my browser tab, throw my display tab up. So over here, of course, you've got everything that has been clinched. Chargers clinched, and now it is just Denver trying to hold off both of these teams. They have an 84% chance right now, and they are playing the Chiefs backups. They will be playing the Kansas City Chiefs backups on Sunday, meaning they have a very good chance to slide into the 7th seed with a 10-7 record. But as things stand right now, it's a little dicey. Bengals are going to have the head-to-head over them, and then I think Miami has something over Cincinnati. That might have happened this year, but I mean, if I'm wrong, let me know. But yeah, Denver's clinching scenarios. We are still in win and you're in land, of course, as we have been for the past, God knows how many weeks now, 3, I want to say. For the past 3 weeks, it has been win and you're in for the Broncos, and they have failed to do so. Or for the past 2 games, excuse me. So, what happened against Cincinnati? For one, man, I hate to say it, Riley Moss played a bad game, man. He had his hands absolutely full with T. Higgins, and it just, anything he was doing, it just wasn't enough. That was not what I meant to hit. Give me just a moment to go find the box score here. Yeah. So we go look at these numbers, and offensively wasn't a terrible game. Statistically, although there were a lot of missed opportunities here, namely in overtime, the interception that Bo threw, that he kind of short-armed. I believe his arm got hit on that throw, so I'm not going to place all the blame on him. But that still looked like a dicey decision that he decided to try to throw. But Bo Nix's final stats for the game, it was 24-31, 219, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. One of them an absolute miracle to Marvin Mims that he threw. Rushing, game was working for a little bit. You had Jaleel go off 10 for 69. Bo Nix was scrambling well, 7 for 31. You had Estime 9 for 24, and then Marvin Mims had a carry that went nowhere. Receiving, Marvin Mims, 8 catches, 103, 2 scores. Sutton had a touchdown, 5 for 55 as well. Devon Vele, 2 for 27, and then basically everything after that is like 1 catch for at most 13 yards. So not a lot on that front. Now, Riley Moss played a bad coverage game, but he was the team's leading tackler, and that is something that Riley Moss has done consistently well all season, is that he has been able to make tackle after tackle. He is a tackling machine. I believe if you would have pulled up Denver's statistics before he got hurt, he would have been one of the top 2 or 3 leading tacklers on the team. I'm not 100% sure on that one, though. But no, the defense got gashed, man. Burrow goes 39 of 49 for 412, 3 scores. Chase Brown in the running game. The Bengals running game didn't actually do that super good. I thought the run defense played okay, but not good enough in key situations. You had the Bengals receiving core just go off. Man, it was not okay what that Bengals receiving core did to Denver. T. Higgins goes 11 for 131, 3 scores. You had Jamar go for 9 for 102. Mike Gesicki was 10 for 86. That's a spot that Denver has found themselves getting gashed lately, is that tight end spot. Kind of that middle of the field spot, and we'll get into that. And then Cincinnati's defense just made plays when they needed them. So despite having 7 sacks on the day, being in the Bengals backfield all day, the Broncos defense wasn't able to hold up in key situations, but the Broncos offense missed so many key opportunities on the back stretch that it's infuriating. If Bo Nix doesn't throw that pick, I'm convinced Denver wins that game. I really am. And we're, again, singing a different tune, kind of akin to last week, the way that I was feeling about stuff. It's like if one thing went one way, then we're singing a whole different tune. Now, the things did not go that way, and Denver takes a loss, so they do still retain the 7 seed in the AFC as things stand. If they lose, it's a 23% playoff chance, because then they need help. They basically just need the Dolphins and the Bengals to lose, because there are tiebreakers. Bengals own the head-to-head over Denver, but I believe the Dolphins have the superior conference record over the trio of teams. So Denver really cannot afford to get into a tie here. Like, they have to win on Sunday, because I don't have a lot of faith that these other teams are going to lose here. Now, Cincinnati, I could see losing, although Pittsburgh might be resting their starters. We'll have to see about that. But Cincinnati goes to Pittsburgh on Saturday night. And then you've got, let's see if we can find the Dolphins here. Because really, I mean, like, you just want to get in, but you would love to just take care of your business on your own. But in the event that Denver is unable to do so, who does Miami play in Week 18? Let's find out together. Okay, so the Dolphins play the Jets, meaning if Denver loses, they're probably screwed. Because unless the Jets just decide to randomly show up on a random Sunday to knock the Dolphins out of the playoffs, that's probably not happening. So the way things sit right now, yeah, Denver in the 7 seed, kind of barely hanging on. They are sitting on an 84% chance, so like it's not as barely hanging on as it looks. And they will be playing the Chiefs backups. My thing is, though, I've been starting to wonder this over the last couple of weeks here. If I can just go pull up the Broncos here on ESPN. I think the Broncos peaked a little too early. I really do. I really think this team peaked a little bit too early here, because these are kind of like, here's your September slate. Then you've got your October bit where they were really, really rolling here. 3-1 there. November came around and they were 2-2 in November. They had those that blowout loss to the Ravens and then that really close loss to the Chiefs. But then you had the Falcons, the Raiders, rolled into November with Cleveland and Indianapolis. But between these two games is where your issues really started to prop up here, because suddenly the defense fell off of a cliff here. And I don't know what the hell happened here. We go look at these points allowed totals here. I mean, 26, 13, 7, 9, 18, 23, and then just, yeah, like 10, 14. Granted, some of these were bad teams, but at the same time, like, this defense was doing ridiculous things to start the season. You get the 41 dropped on you by the Ravens. That's kind of an anomaly game, and whatever, so be it. But then you hold Patty Mahomes and the full-strength Chiefs to 16. You hold the Falcons to 6, who were coming off a string of really good offensive performances, if I remember correctly. That was before Cousins completely fell off a fucking cliff. Raiders, once again, you held the 19. And then something happens here between these two games. 32. You only gave up 13 here, but it really should have been more to the Colts. 34. 30. Like, this Broncos defense has fallen off of a cliff in these last couple of weeks here, and I understand that Carson Wentz is going to start, but Carson Wentz is still a capable NFL quarterback. Like, this is still Carson Wentz that had an MVP run in 2018 before his career was completely altered. He has Andy Reid behind him as well. And so what scares me here is that, you know, Denver gets a little overconfident here, and they fold to Carson Wentz. that is part of my fears here, just as we're looking at that thing. But I think this team got too hot, or got hot too early. And now that is kind of costing them here down the stretch, because now suddenly their defense is either just not executing, or it's gotten completely figured out here and VJ has to switch something up. And I mean, offensively, it feels like in spots that the play calling is reverting back to September, Bo. Oh God, stuttering. It feels like the play calling has reverted kind of to September here, because there was a nice stretch here where Sean Payton was really in his bag with the play calls here. Even if you weren't winning all of these games, like the KC game, the offense was doing enough. It wasn't great still, but it felt like when they got their drives going, like they looked really good on those drives. Falcons, another example. Payton was in his bag for that. And then suddenly it's like he has reverted back to this east-west, try and get your guys in space, even though a lot of teams are like kind of know to look for that at this point. And so my worry is that, like, with all of everything the Chiefs have on film, like, this is the same team that got, like, over 500 yards dropped on them by the Browns, and the same team that held the Chiefs to 16 points. So it's like, which Broncos are we going to see here? Are we going to get the midseason peak Broncos here that can take Kansas City to the buzzer and should have won that game? Or are we going to see the Broncos we've seen for the past month? It's been bad for him so far. And you know, Bo Nix isn't necessarily playing bad football. I don't love everything I've seen. Like, the eye test hasn't exactly super done it for me lately. Except for a couple of throws. But another part of that, too, is, like, he can only execute what's called. And it feels like the play calling has been really, really conservative for him. It's like Peyton's scared to let him go back out and sling it after the Browns game, which is slightly worrying. I don't believe Denver has any chance to clinch higher than the 7. So they're just looking to survive, get in, and then in that case, they would go to Buffalo for wildcard weekend. Of course, I will be on that call. So let's preview this Chiefs game a little bit. Of course, Carson Wentz will not be playing, so if we wanted to go look at stats, we'll just go see where the Chiefs rank here, kind of on some of this, as we can breeze over this too. Like I said, Bo Nix not having a horrible season. I mean, 3,400 passing yards through 17 games, 25 touchdowns, 12 picks. We've seen better, but we've also seen far worse, definitely in the last decade or so. Running game has not been there as consistently as it has needed to be. At this point, Javonte is not, he's basically, you know, I think his ceiling is now last year's form, which isn't great. Jaleel's popped off when he's been on the field. Estime's kind of come into his own as of late. So I'm confident in some of these guys, but it's not going to be Javonte, and Sean Payton does need to stick with the run. Like, we saw that because it worked a lot against the Bengals. Like, on that one drive in overtime, after they ran it on on 1st and 10 and then threw a screen and then threw something else, I was so baffled by that, because why are you calling a screen when you're not even guaranteed to complete it or gain yards? You've ran the ball well all game, and then suddenly you get cold feet on running the ball. Like, what is up with that? In other news, Sutton is just 17 yards away from his first 1,000-yard season since 2019, so that's got to feel good for him for sure. I'm happy for him. Mims having a nice stretch of games right here as well. Devon Vele has been serviceable this season as a rookie, which is good to see. Troy Franklin has kind of struggled to find his own, especially as of late. And then defensively, I mean, the sack totals too. Like, I've had my critiques of this defense so far, but this pass rush has been remarkable and really, really fun to watch here. Turnovers too, like Pat Surtain and Jones have been doing their thing. Jaquan's been doing his thing, and then a couple of other guys also have one interception. So now I gotta remember how to get to the whole thing. We're gonna go kind of preview this Chiefs game right now. Really just kind of looking at their defense here, because this is what Denver's going to be up against here. Because offensively, I mean, you don't know what you're going to get with Wentz today or on Sunday. You really don't know what you're going to get with Carson Wentz, because you could get really good Carson Wentz, especially in this Andy Reid system. Or you could certainly also get, batshit tier Carson Wentz, who doesn't know how to throw a goddamn football. So we look at the Chiefs' defense in terms of yards per game. They are fourth. The Chiefs' defense is really good in terms of yards per game. Where does Denver rank in that? They're still top half. It's still not great, and they have kind of fallen off a little bit here. We go look at points per game, and Denver is still in this top 5 at 19.4, but watching them the past month, that has not been the defense that we have seen since the start of December, really. Their offense has kind of been winning them games, and then they've gotten a couple of swing plays from a guy like Nick Benito to kind of stay in these things, and the season average is saying 19.4 per game, and we need that 19.4 per game defense to show up on Sunday and to really shut Carson Wentz down, because like I said, he is still a competent NFL quarterback in an Andy Reid system. Like, that cannot be overstated. That can't be overstated. Broncos defense still playing good ball at times, although they have kind of fallen off here in a good amount of categories. Broncos now in this kind of bottom part of the league here for pass defense, which is ridiculous but understandable given the past couple of weeks. Rushing defense, they are still looking solid enough. It's just now you're getting gashed over the middle because teams know your weakness. Cody Barton and Justin Stranad are not good coverage linebackers, and I don't know how long this has been a problem for the Broncos, but it's bad. Like, it has been bad. I swear this is one thing that we always harp on every single year, is that none of our inside linebackers can cover. And it's because they can't. And so we end up getting gashed, and then it's stuff like that that really eats into a stretch run here. We go compare these offenses now in total yards per game. Chiefs are kind of hovering middle of the pack here. Denver has boosted themselves a little bit since the start of the season, but not by a ton. They're hanging with guys like the Texans. They got the Chargers tied with them, but they're hanging with like the Jets within like 10 of Tennessee. Like, it's been bad at times, but it's also been really good. Like, it's been so up and down lately. You go look at passing yards per game. Denver a little higher, maybe not even. So, these averages are really suffering from kind of the early parts of the year. Denver's run game, where are they? Just under the Chiefs. And I imagine the Chiefs will probably run the ball a little bit more, considering Carson Wentz is starting. So it's, an interesting matchup here. These were two really evenly matched teams, even if the record didn't say so when they last played. So I imagine we'll see another close one. And if the defense can hang on to one more stop, or if the offense can just execute one play better here, I really do think that Denver can beat the Chiefs here. I really do. What scares me, though, is we're going to kind of wrap it all back up in a bow here, and we'll get off of ESPN. I just think Denver might have peaked a little too early, because they got hot in the middle portions of the season. They got out to that 9-5 record with a couple of losses kind of in there, but they were, for the most part, close games, and they were kind of punching outside of their weight class. They were punching up a little bit. And now you have to reckon with Kansas City and Andy Reid staring at you to keep you out of the playoffs. And if you lose, you do not fare well in tiebreakers. You do not fare well. Not to mention, of course, like I said, the Dolphins play the Jets in Week 18, and the Bengals play the Steelers. So I'm not saying there isn't a scenario where Denver loses and still gets in, because the Dolphins have been mad and consistent this year, and of course Tua playing December football is good for narratives. And, Cincinnati, they are playing what has been a tough-hitting Steelers defense, and if I remember right, too, like, they might still be playing for the division, aren't they? Yeah, they play the Ravens. So they might still be playing for the division. I'm not sure if that's clinchable for them or not. But that is going to be all I got for this episode of Crushing It. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Leave a like on the video. And I will see you guys here in a couple of days with a maybe a little kind of mini preview episode, and then I'm going to be doing like this big gushy 2024 recap thing, because there were a lot there. I just want to show this on stream real quick. Okay, before we go, I want to show this on stream because there was a lot of good shit that happened for the channel this year, man. Like if I go look at my analytics real quick, and this was you guys. You guys made this happen. So in the last 28, we've gotten almost 10,000 views, 1.5 thousand or 1,500 hours of watch time, and we have gained 42 subscribers. Like, I don't even know what to do with that information, if I'm completely honest here. And really, like, each of these live streams have almost done better than the next. I mean, the Chargers one did good. We got rated during the Colts one right here. Chargers one did better. And then, you know, this last one with the Bengals has been absolutely incredible. I don't know what to do. So if we go look over the last 365 days, during this year, from January 1st to now, and really, I didn't really pick this up until like really early September, if not late August. We have done 12,000 views, 1,600 watch hours, and 94 subs. Like this has been crazy. You guys have all been awesome, and I really hope that we can get ourselves a little foothold here, because I would love to talk about sports full time, but just with the way that things are currently, I work full time. And this just does end up having to be a hobby, and that does go with my other YouTube channel as well. I don't feel like that one gets the attention it deserves from me. So with that being said, I mean, expect a lot of cool things this year, you guys. I am so excited for this year, man. Like I really am. I am in the best headspace I have been in years. And it's just, I'm really excited for this. I'll be doing another live stream over on my gaming channel, probably a bit later today. So I believe I left that link in the description. I did for my other stream. It's called Download B. So if you want to go check that out, I won't stop you from doing, from not or doing. And with that being said, yeah, thank you guys for watching.